How do you know when you're home? Is it as simple as putting a key in the door? Familiar belongings that surround you and family photos upon the shelf? Is home simply a dwelling? Or is it something deeper? Something that holds us or calls us when we are away? I think of home as a sense of place, one which brings comfort and inspires us, perhaps even to be creative. I often think of migrating birds looking down upon the land. Do they sense the abundance of life below them? What do they see that tells them they have arrived? Formed some 400 million years ago, the Blue Ridge Mountains run through Virginia as a physiographic province of the Appalachian Mountains, which parallel them to the west and are separated by the Shenandoah Valley. To the east of the Blue Ridge lies the Piedmont or foothills region. Today, the Piedmont is still a verdant rolling landscape, a wonderfully scenic farm and equestrian area west of Washington, D.C. We're 50 miles from downtown. Route 50, now known as John Mosby Highway, finds its way west out of the city's hustle and bustle to the peaceful countryside. There, splitting Loudoun and Fauquier counties in the process, it crosses the Blue Ridge and the Appalachian Trail at Ashby's Gap. Once known as the Bent of the Blue Ridge, in the late 1700s, Ashby's Gap was named in honor of local pioneer Captain John Ashby, whose father Thomas Ashby had settled in the area from England. As the story goes, Ashby was the first to run an unlocked horse team down the gorge, pulling 2 hogshead barrels of tobacco. That dirt road would have looked and felt far different than the highway it is today. It ended in a wreck, but apparently it did not damage Ashby's reputation, and in fact, not only does the gap itself bear Ashby's name, but this section of Route 50 was for many years known as Ashby's Gap Turnpike. From the top of the gap, one can see east towards the towns of Upperville and Middleburg, and most beautifully for miles southeast down Crooked Run Valley. And while the gap offers significant and historical importance, especially during the Civil War, for me personally, as a landscape artist who has for decades lived and largely painted within sight of Ashby's Gap, it has been a true beacon of inspiration. Ashby's Gap has found itself under my brush so many times over the years, from near and afar, be it commissions of a Voca farm nestled in its arms, or miles away as a backdrop to Catesby's farm, perhaps off in the distance from Rectortown Road, or as a part of a brilliant sunset along Rokeby Road. Ashby's Gap has offered so much to my eyes and artistic spirit. Oh, what visual memories you have given me, and hopefully will continue to do so for years to come. A hawk in flight near a Paris town, a country road when I'm homeward bound, in a ridge of blue you rolling gap, buffering country bumpkins from saddled chaps, like a comfortable chair relaxing me, west enough from the east which so taxes me, where foxes run over old stone walls, by old chestnut barns and wild bird calls. Some artists choose the sea, some the city, but they're not me. I live in the arms of Ashby's Gap, like a retriever's head on a loving lap. There to ground this artist's soul, liking 2 halves and making them whole. A dip in the Blue Ridge, there guiding me, overlooking the Piedmont for all to see.